something other than just rhythm. Yeah. Okay, first impressions of Roger when you first met him.
First impression of Roger. Well, I think I put in my book something about the sort of tall, slightly menacing man at the back, somewhere at the back of the classroom. It's pretty much the same today.
Why do you think you got on?
I think, well, probably there was that shared interest in something beyond architecture. Yeah, and I think we lacked commitment to architecture, both of us. And indeed, we then found Richard Wright, who also lacked commitment. And we went on from there. I do remember that, in those days, everyone got a student grant. And the first thing we did when the grants came through, when Roger's grant came through, was head for Denmark Street to buy a bass guitar.
Bonded by a mutual lack of enthusiasm for education. Where did you first hear the word psychedelia? When were you first aware of it as a term?
I would think 1966, possibly. Well, I'm trying to... I would think 66, probably when I was in America, because I finished my 3 years at... I was studying to be an architect. Architecture is a very long course, 7 years. So you do 3 years, get a degree, go and do a year in an office, and so on. During that sort of year after doing 3 years, I went to America for a couple of months. And while I was there, I was in New York as a student. And I think I became aware of psychedelia then. The bands at the time, I remember the Fugs were the sort of big thing in New York at the time.
What an amazing time to be in New York, though.
I suppose not many specific memories about music, particularly, because although we had a band and we'd just been heard of. Just. But in a small way. I was also still, training as an architect, so actually I'd spent quite a lot of time looking at buildings and, museums and stuff like that. You have to get used to this idea, Matt, that I was not a committed architect. I'm not really a committed musician either.
Write it if you like it, just a basket, a bell that rings and things to make it look good. I'd give it to you if I could, but I borrowed it. You're the kind of girl.
The cult of Sid. I mean, how does the sort of public's idea of this sort of doomed mercurial genius, how does that tally with your friend, with the guy that you knew? Because there is...
I think that still tallies quite well in a way.
Really?
And I think it's something that I think possibly all of us still think about, and I think are still finding elements that if not explain things, maybe go some way towards explaining what happened to Sid. And what happened to Sid is interconnected with what happened to us. Briefly, when I first met Sid, he was the most charming, interesting, easygoing guy. I mean, fantastic. We were being a bit cool, but Sid was perfectly prepared to say hello. It's really slightly different. And then it sort of went off. He changed, but there were two elements to this. One is